Hey there, I'm in my suit today, and I look straight out of 1938. But there's a very good reason for that, and that's because we're going to talk about MUN. So basically, for those who might know about it, MUN stands for Model United Nations, and it's basically a bunch of high school students, or maybe college students, who are acting a bit like various UN professionals. That could be delegates, chairs, etc. But please keep in mind that this is not a guide on how to win the Best Delegate Award, but rather a guide on how to have loads of fun, make new friends, and learn a lot. So basically, one of the points that I want to make is that, without any doubt, being a strong debater is certainly a good thing, especially if you're in the Security Council. But I would say it's not as important as many people would think. Because first and foremost, we as delegates, diplomats, who are trying to find common ground. I mean, that is our key role, and sometimes desperately trying to win arguments might even be counterproductive in finding compromises and solutions. And basically, oftentimes, it's easier to get influence while lobbying compared to open debates. At least to me, because I've personally gotten a lot more OCs in the resolution by negotiating them during lobbying rather than submitting them as amendments. But yeah, that could of course just be me because, well, I am much more of a negotiator and not really a natural debater by any means. But yeah, I think this more or less, I don't know, applies to most people. By the way, it's getting quite hot in here, so I think I'll just take my jacket and my tie off. So yeah, so I'm back. So you might be attending the conference because you're interested in international politics or because it's part of school subjects. And that's great. But what really makes a conference a memorable experience is the people there and the friendships and the relations that you make with them. So what I'd recommend is to take some time out of your already hectic schedule to socialize as much as possible. That could be with your fellow delegates, your host family, or even locals or people staying at your hotel. And yes, I know that relaxing in a hotel room or playing video games at home might sound very tempting. Yet, if you resist these temptations, your conference will be far more memorable. I've stayed at like 5 or 6 different host families when I've been traveling abroad, and to say it as it is, all of them has been completely awesome. But when you think about it, it isn't as much of a surprise really. After all, they let a complete stranger stay at the house for almost a week without getting paid anything. So my best advice is return the favor. Be nice to them. And oftentimes, I mean, that only implies spending time with them and being polite and being open-minded. And you know what? It usually pays off. I remember staying at a host family in Lübeck in Germany for an MUN conference. I think it's about a year ago, and I ended up getting along with them really well. And on the last day, they surprised me with inviting me to a really nice restaurant where we had a really fun evening out. And we ended up getting to know each other quite well. So I had a really cool experience, and I would never mind repeating it. So what I can conclude from that is that your host family can literally, and let me stress the word literally, be your best friends when staying abroad. Alright, it's time for me to get a little bit boring. But in order to have a fun conference, getting at least some sleep is crucial. Especially if you're like me. quite gaffe prone by nature, to be fair. If I don't get enough sleep, I will wander around in a semi-conscious state, making plenty of verbal blunders that are even more embarrassing than what this was for Joe Biden.
Cannot do it.
Not
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
for Joe Biden. Not really a good thing, right? When you want to make persuasive arguments, hold good speeches, and find solutions on complex issues. So, bottom line is, even though we have a very hectic schedule, find some time to sleep. It's really important. So there's basically the last point that I kind of wanted to come across is that, at least in my humble opinion, awards shouldn't really be as much of a part of MUN as they tend to be. And I know this is kind of maybe a little bit controversial and maybe a little bit unpopular. And if you don't agree with me, that's just about fine. But honestly, way too often awards seems to only be given to people who are aggressive debaters or captivating speakers. That's my experience, at least. And while both debating and public speaking are skills that are very useful, if not essential, in MUN, they are not the only ones that makes a good delegate. I mean, mediating during lobbying, showing leadership when writing resolutions, and so on and so forth, is in my opinion just as important, if not more important. But this kind of leads back to my first point about how we should be more diplomats rather than debaters. And yes, it might motivate someone to maybe get an award and will make them speak more, prepare more, and that kind of stuff. But honestly, to me at least, having good experience in meeting new people, learning new stuff, and finding solutions to some of the world's most complex issues is far more motivating and far more rewarding than a title that only represents a very narrow set of qualities, so to speak. But that's at least how I feel. And again, it's only my humble and personal opinion here. So again, if you disagree with me, that's